swiftcovered.com. For car insurance, don't wait in line, go online. Get a life. Get Swift Covered.
Absolute Radio.
So it's podcast time again. Welcome. I'm with Emily and Gareth, as always.
Hello.
That was very, very well synchronised. That was excellent. Have you ever tried swimming together?
I think we should now.
Yeah, it's a nice idea. Perhaps we should all... I can't swim, actually. Maybe you could swim either side of me and hold my arms, keep me... Like, you know, when you see a child out with his parents and they swing the child in between. I used to... That was one of my favourite things when I was a kid.
But you might drag us down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rather mean, Gareth.
That would be fabulously symbolic of the show. It's about time I got my own bat. Hey. So that was me leaving on horseback. Let's do the podcast.
Absolute.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily and Gareth, as always.
Hello.
Hello. And Gareth didn't say that. How do you come for that?
He sort of grunted, didn't he?
Okay.
I said, Mama.
Yeah, that's become your catchphrase now. So, have you had a bet today? Because apparently, according to the news, half the adult population are having a bet on the Grand National.
Well, so at least one of us should have.
Oh, well, there's three of us, so...
1.5.
Yeah.
I haven't bet.
At least.
Well, if one of us has a bet, the other one enters the sweep.
Yes.
Do you know the sweep?
I'm not really
know.
into betting, Frank.
No, well, it's the very... can I say that the Absolute Radio is in no way recommending that people gamble. It's a very dangerous business. But the Grand National, I must admit, I have always had a bet on it. I kind of like the Grand National. It takes me back to my childhood, partly because my dad used to make us watch it, and partly because one of my main joys as a child was jumping through people's privet hedges. In those days, everybody had privet around their house. I used to think that maybe it was called privet because it's what people used to keep their garden private, as it were. Everybody. In London, I should explain, people who don't know me, I used to live in the West Midlands and I moved to London, which is a large conurbation in the southeast of England. And we used to run through people's privet hedges. It was one of the... and it's quite hard to get through because it's quite coarse and sturdy. And that's basically what the Grand National is. It's horses doing that. Except the fences don't seem to have, like, pop bottles, chip paper and the occasional adult magazine in them, the way the privet did. So I like it for that. I've also thought as well that the Grand National sounds like that isn't the complete title. That sounds like two adjectives on their way to a noun. Like it should be the Grand National
Horse race
Championship or something like that, yeah. Grand National, yeah, and then it ends. It's like that, there's that crime novel called The Long Firm. I'm always looking for the last word on the cover, and it's never there. So you're not even going to have a bet?
No, definitely not. I don't know, it's not that I'm anti-gambling, but I do get the feeling...
You're anti-horses, is that the truth of it?
I get terrified of the idea of losing money. I think it just scares me, if I'm totally honest.
This must be a very harrowing period for you, then, it being one of the biggest recessions of all time.
Yeah, but my mum's side of the family used to gamble quite a lot. My granddad used to gamble. I didn't think it went very well for him.
Your hesitation suggests it was a bit of a problem. Have we dug up something a bit?
I think he did it quite a lot.
Right, he was a compulsive gambler.
So I didn't make it attractive to me.
No. My granddad was a compulsive gamboler. Yeah, he was always covered in grass, mud.
Oh, God.
No, like I say, we're not suggesting that. I once did a gig with Red Rom. Do you know Red Rom, the racer?
Yeah.
I turned up for a corporate gig, and it was me and Red Rom on the bill, and they didn't want me to do any comedy. They basically wanted people to have their photo, so people lined up to have their photo with Red Rom.
You genuinely did a gig with Red Rom?
I did a gig. It was just me and Red Rom on the bill. And
what weird people.
yeah, and I
See
did.
Red Rum.
I did 20 minutes of comedy, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, come on, we just want our photos to get the comedy out."
Bring on the horse. Bring on the horse.
Well, during the comedy, I said, "Well, how do we know it's Red Rum? If you come to think about it, I said, on a busy weekend, there's probably 24 of these out. Christmas, they're sending out Great Danes with jockeys, and the bloke who was with Red Rum got quite upset about it. But yes, so then people lined up and had their photo took with me, and then people lined up and had their photo took with Red Rum.
Did you hit it off with Red Rum?
Well, we didn't share a dressing room.
No, you didn't go.
No,
you could, if you'd have hit it off really well, you might have woken up with him. And then it would have been like The Godfather, except it's not just the head, it was the whole horse. The bird is like, oh no, oh yeah, I remember
But
now.
it might not have been like that. We might have gone on and got on well and became and had a stable relationship.
Absolute.
So I'll tell you something on the subject of horses, because, as I say, half the adult population is betting on the National today.
Except for me.
Yeah, I don't think you can say half of them except for you. I'm assuming you're in the half that aren't. I was in Australia and I was in a museum in Melbourne, and there's a horse in there called Far Lap. Far Lap was a famous Australian racehorse, and his body, he's sort of well, actually not his body, his sort of skin is in that museum. I think his heart is in a place in Canberra, and his skeleton is in another one. And I looked at this horse. It's like a stuffed horse. I couldn't see any scars on it at all. And I thought, how the hell did they get the skeleton out of this without cutting the skin? And do you remember, there used to be a programme called It's a Knockout, when you had to put a grand piano through a letterbox. You had to smash it into bits. And I wondered if there was if they found a sort of an opening on the horse where they could remove the whole... when sometimes you see musicians take their shirt, not musicians, magicians, they sort of take their we've got Derren Brown in after, maybe he can do it. They take their shirt off, they just grab the back of their shirt and go whoomp, and the whole shirt comes off. I wonder if that's what you do with a horse skeleton. You just raise the tail, get a good grip on the coccyx.
Like a tablecloth.
Yeah. And then, whoa! And the thing comes out that I'm going to the West Brom Stoke this afternoon, so if I see a police horse, I might try.
Give it a go, why
Just
not?
get behind the horse and whoa! And the skeleton comes out, and the policeman suddenly sitting on like a big brown velvet bean bag, wondering what's happened. I think that would be marvellous. Now, one thing we want to do this week, we love it when people send in texts and the like. And I've got that rattle of paper is me getting my thing that's got the text on. So if you want to text us, you can text us on 81215, or you can email us on the Absolute Radio website, which is absoluteradio.co.uk. Oh God, UK. It's all them all co.uk if they're not com. absoluteradio.co.uk / Frank Skinner. What if someone's just turned now and I've said / Frank Skinner and it's put some sort of message into their brain and they're waiting outside with a big banana machete?
I think that's definitely going to happen.
Oh,
I can't see any way around that.
I'm not going to get out.
He was there when I came in.
What struck me, though, I don't know what you two think about this. Well, I do, because we discussed the idea before, but I always pretend that these things are just happening spontaneously. People, I think, some people kind of know a bit about me, but they don't know much about you two, about Emily and Gareth. So I thought you can have questions, nice questions, can I point out?
Yeah, no ex-boyfriends, please, being abusive.
No,
can I flag that up?
Nice,
here?
lovely, warm-hearted, humane questions for Emily and Gareth, so you can find out a bit more about them, and I think that would be lovely. I'll tell you what I was a bit worried about this week. Basil Brush and Postman Pat we've basically lost them to an American company. I think the British company has something's gone wrong with it. I don't understand. I don't know the details of the...
Oh, no, it's the credit crunch hit them.
It is, yeah. Brush and Pat. Yeah, I thought they were going to be privatised anyway, the post office. It looks like Pat's he's fallen at the final hurdle to keep in the Grand National theme. And so they could become American owned.
So they're going to change the accents?
Yeah.
Hey, Pat, how you doing? I'm fine. I'm having a great day in
I'm looking forward
Greendale.
to bomb. But they have changed. Do you see Basil Brush on the telly now? He wears like a hooded top.
He's like Foxy Bingo. He was the precursor for Foxy Bingo.
Yeah, he
Basil
was.
Brush. I like Basil Brush, though. I was a big fan of his.
Was he sort of John the Baptist to Foxy Bingo's Messiah?
He was.
Yeah, I've never thought of Basil Brush, you know. I've worked with Basil Brush, I might tell you.
That's quite some boast.
In fact, what about this for a boast? Basil Brush was on my This Is Your Life. He was one of the guests. It was all done at the London Palladium, and suddenly a voice went, Mr. Frank, Mr. Frank. And it wasn't David Baddiel, although he did call me that. It was up in the royal box was Basil Brush. But there was a bit of a terrible thing because the bloke who was a lovely bloke called Ivan Ona used to operate, the original Basil Brush person. I think, God bless him, he'd had a bit of a... Well, I don't know anyway, but I think he might have had a drink. I don't want to cast aspersions because I get hay fever from them. But he'd had a bit of a drink, and there was this thing where he went, oh, Mr. Frank, and he started talking about it, and he went, Mr. Frank, I remember when we... And it sounded like Basil Brush was drowning. It was the most terrifying sound. And then he had another go, he went, no, Mr. Frank... And me and David Baddiel were... I have never laughed so much on television in my life. Poor Basil.
And what happened?
I'll tell you after this break.
Okay.
Absolute.
Oh man, it was amazing, and I must say Basil Brush made a fantastic breakfast the next morning. Where were we? Oh yeah, so what else? Oh yeah, what were you talking about? The credit crunch and plastic surgery.
Oh yeah, apparently plastic surgery is
Hold
down.
on, we had an email. We've had an
yeah.
email. It's a bit that we don't get many, so it's quite excited. We'll come back to plastic surgery.
We should clap like girls of the Playboy Mansion.
Okay.
Yay!
Don't mention that, you'll start me off.
Alex, aged 11, said, my dad is a betting shop manager. I could get you lots of tips.
Aged 11.
Yes, aged 11.
Well, that's great. I like the idea of a sort of a bookie's runner, like a sort of little artful dodger type character.
I could do some deals if you get in touch direct. I'll sort you out.
I had
Thank
a girl
you,
when
Alex.
I was at
Thanks,
school.
Alex, yeah.
And her dad was a bookmaker, and I had visions of him sitting there with these leather-bound first editions of Dickens, and then the Greek columns outside the house were a bit of a giveaway, that maybe not, but no, I was very disappointed when I found that out, that he wasn't an actual bookmaker.
Bookmaker, yeah, it does sound like someone who makes books. It's a reasonable...
Yeah.
It's like turf accountant. Why don't they just come out and say, I mean, a turf accountant sounds like what? Some bloke in a suit who does his job from a lawn of some kind. It is. What are they ashamed of? It's a noble profession. What is you saying, plastic surgery?
Yes, plastic surgery is down because of the credit crunch, apparently. People are having less done. So not only are we getting poorer, we're getting less good looking.
We're getting older.
Yeah.
That's quite a good thing, isn't it?
Looking worse.
Probably.
Well, but the thing is, it's not the people who don't have it, it's the people who go cheap.
Never go cheap.
No, exactly.
Never go. You see, people like Sharon Osbourne, she does look really good, I think.
You're not saying Sharon Osbourne has had plastic surgery. I never know.
Oh,
I'm
Frank,
so
don't tell
naive.
me you didn't know that.
I was saying to Emily earlier, God, you know, Madonna looks... Madonna's in the paper, and because she's in Malawi and it's quite hot, and I think she's trying to look down to earth and not too rock and roll, she's not wearing any makeup. And to my amazement... Well, you know, she's like, yeah, it's the Africa thing. You know, we've had the ice cream cone basque, and now it's the Africa look. But she looks fantastic with no makeup on. And then Emily says to me, well, you know, I think she has had a bit of work. And it never crossed my mind that Madonna had plastic surgery.
No, but we don't know
that she has,
no,
can I point out? It's not the official policy of Absolute Radio to say that Madonna...
But I mean, it's rumoured that she has, and her work, I think, is good and quite expensive work, which is why you can't tell. You see, that's the idea, I think. Because I had Botox once, I'm going to confess.
You are? Did you really?
Yeah, about
this morning?
No, it was about 4 years ago. And I don't know why, everyone kept saying to me, oh, you look really angry. And I had these two little lines. Can you see them in the middle of my forehead there? Like frown lines.
Oh, God, I can see them. I could strike a match on them were
So
it
I
allowed in this
Well,
building.
I had it done, and then it was really... I started to get the fear that I would look like Tweety Pie, and my forehead would just be this giant flat surface. So I then thought, also, I really got...
You could be used as a whiteboard at conferences.
a nice work surface.
Hold on a minute, but I don't. Let's not go before our horse to market. When you say you had it done, what do they do exactly? And is it botulism? Somebody told me they just inject you with botulism.
Yeah,
and your head is so terrified it tenses up. And that's
it paralyses the muscles. So I just had 2 injections there, and it stops you frowning, so it stops the lines forming, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're not happy about something?
Well,
if you want
no
to
one ever
communicate that
knows,
you're
which
not.
is great.
You always carry a marker pen, and you can put in some frown line.
But no, I did decide after that. I did feel a bit nervous because people don't know that much about it, I suppose, yet. And also, I was worried that it didn't... You know when people get work done and you just think, oh, she's had work done, you don't think she looks young.
Well, I don't, but yeah, you do. I always think she looks nice.
Well, if I spent a lot of money having plastic surgery, I'd want people to know I'd had it done.
Yeah.
You know, in a Michael Jackson sort of way. I think he thinks, well, I'm having this done. I want people to know.
Oh, you think
I
he's
want it to be
deliberately
obvious.
taken that? Yeah. You think he had it done the first time I took the bandages off? He said, oh, way too natural. Can you make the nose sort of more pointy and more hanging a bit more tentatively? Okay, I hadn't thought of that.
Some more visible scars. That's what we want.
Well, I think if Madonna's see, people take the mickey out of Madonna. I think she looks marvellous.
Oh, I think she looks brilliant.
She's like, what,
yeah.
51? Did you see those
52,
photos of her bandaged up? She had like white bandages and white pants on recently. She looked fantastic. I've decided that's my look.
You like
51-year-old heavily bandaged woman with a sort of 1972 Charlie's Angels flick at the front of her hair.
Go down the Burns unit, you'd love them there.
Can you? Do you have contacts down there?
Might be able to sort you out. Although we did have Alex emailed back and he said, what did he say?
Come on, this is radio. I'm sorry, this is so unprofessional.
Alex11 from the betting shop says, sure we can come to some arrangement?
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
Absolute.
Can I just say, Frank was drumming so ferociously during that. You looked like Animal from the Muppets.
I worked with Animal from the Muppets. Not the actual puppet, but Ronnie Verrill, who used to play the drums.
What puppet haven't you worked with? Goodness sake.
I've worked with most puppets. I never did Lenny the Lion. He was a bit before my time.
Oh.
That was the Fall, by the way, doing that Live Dream of a Casino song, which at the moment is my favourite Fall track, but it changes every day. I went to see the Fall this week.
Oh.
I went to see them at the Junction in Cambridge on Tuesday night, and then I went to see them at Coco in Camden in North London, which is a conurbation in the southeast of England, on Wednesday night.
How was it?
It was great. The lead singer with the Fall, in case you don't know, is a guy called Mark E. Smith, and he was in a wheelchair. He broke his hip, so it gave it a slight Richard III feel to the whole thing. And he does a thing on stage. He sort of normally he walks around and he changes all the settings on everyone's amplifier. So suddenly he'll switch the bass off, or really, really loud, or guitar really quiet. He just messes about. I think just because he can, to show he's him. And even in the wheelchair, he still made the effort to go around. There was one quite tall amplifier. He actually had to get out of the chair, support himself with the speaker so he could twiddle with the knobs.
Well, they're ramps. Did they have to set up ramps?
There was a ramp at the London gig, but in Cambridge there was a bit where he sort of got wedged in the door, and he did the last song with his back to the audience, half on the stage and half off. But that's all pretty normal at a Fall gig.
Was he in a wheelchair because they'd had a fall?
That's absolutely splendid. I think that's the trailer for this week's show. Sorted out. Right, we got it right there. If you're listening, Mark, I apologise for that.
So
Get
was
well
it
soon.
2 consecutive gigs? You went,
2 consecutive gigs, yeah.
That's how much you love them.
I've seen them 4 consecutive gigs. That's
Really?
the most I've seen them. I saw them 7 times in 2 weeks once. It's an obsession, I admit that. I should tell you, in case you wonder what kind of man Mark E. Smith is, they played on later with Jules Holland, and he insisted it was written into the contract that at no point could Jules Holland accompany them on Boogie Woogie piano. Now, that surely is commonsensical. The other great thing about Marquis Smith, and there are many great things, is that considering he's been a vocalist in a band for like whatever it is now, 30 years, he always looks completely nonplussed at the sight of a microphone. He sort of holds a microphone and goes, oh, and looks at it, and he looks at the back where it joins the wire and all that in a very like confused way.
You met him?
I have met him. I've met him a couple of times, yeah, which I was so excited. I can't tell you. It was like being like loving someone and then meeting them.
It was like if I met Henry VIII.
If you met Henry VIII, it'd be very. And I imagine he'd be slightly nonplussed by a microphone as well. Yeah, there's a Henry VIII exhibition. I should say, in case you don't listen to this show every week, I know not all of you do. I think what we're gathering a core following. That's what I like. Emily has a slight thing about Henry VIII, which I think is destined to be an unrequited love, obviously.
Yeah, but you know, I'm going to see him next week.
You're going to see him. What is it's his armour or something? Is it?
I'm going to his crib, Hampton Court. So I'm going hanging out with Henry at his crib next week. There's the Armoury exhibition. Is this interesting to anyone? I hope so. At the Tower of London, and then there's another exhibition in Hampton Court.
Right,
and I might be going to one today as well.
Is it a big Henry VIII festival?
Yeah, it's 500 years since his accession to the throne.
Well, of course, being a Catholic, I'm not a massive fan of Henry VIII, but perhaps we shouldn't go into the history of the Reformation on an absolute. It could be a bit. I'll tell you something. I've got some very exciting news to do with fame and celebrity.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like the greatest honour of all.
Absolute.
And Basil Brush made the best breakfast. That was that was Lily Allen with the Thea. And the thing that's happening to me is that this is very exciting for me. I know you might sneer, but I've been inducted. I'm going to be inducted. They're going to put docked into me. I'm going to be inducted into the Birmingham Walk of Stars.
Wow.
You don't start with that tone. You live in Bournemouth. What's the Bournemouth Walk of Stars like? Max Bygraves, that's it.
Yeah.
But, we've got... so it's like in Hollywood where there's indentations in the pavement type of thing. It's a bit like that with stars and all that. And they've got Ozzy Osbourne and Tony Iommi, who's the guitarist with Sabbath.
And Jasper Carrot?
Jasper Carrot, you guessed it. Who else? Have a guess.
Noddy Holder?
Noddy Holder's not actually from Birmingham, he's from Wolverhampton, but he is on it. I don't know quite how he got it.
Adrian Childs, he should be on it.
He's not on it now. I think the idea is you have to have filled a major Birmingham venue.
I've got Murray Walker on this list.
Murray Walker.
What venue has he done?
Racing guy.
Yeah, he used to gig a lot, Murray Walker.
Welcome to the gig! Oh, you're all sitting there! I'm about to do something! Yeah!
So Murray Walker's on there. Is he from Birmingham? He must be.
He doesn't sound like he's from Birmingham.
No, but I mean, he's had to change that. You couldn't have. So we're coming up to lap 17. It's very, very scary. What's he going to say? Gareth,
I was about to do a Birmingham Murray Walker, but you did that.
So, sorry. So, speaking of, it's all about getting in first in this business. You'll learn that as you get older. Is there any questions coming for you two yet?
Nothing.
I can't believe it. We're asking our listeners to send in questions this morning to Gareth and Emily, because I don't feel you know them well enough. You can.
I don't think they want to know us.
Well, I think they do.
Response.
Don't sulk about it. Text 81215, or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website. Just look for the /Frank Skinner bit. Now, so you moved this week, didn't you?
Yes.
That doesn't happen that often.
No, we moved into...
You're like a slender Loris in that respect.
You're calling me lazy?
Go on, you move.
There's something going on upstairs. No, there's nothing going on upstairs, because we just moved to a bungalow. Because we're having a baby, so we needed somewhere with another bedroom. So we moved into a bungalow.
This is you're a married man, aren't you?
Yes, to my wife, Laura.
Okay.
And it's stressful moving. Like, it's supposed to be as stressful as divorce or
bereavement. Apparently.
We nearly had all three of those this week.
Oh no!
But it was I didn't know. I had to organise the people who were going to come and move, and in the end we had two lovely men with a van one called
Yeah,
Wayne.
I
We
think
had to
that's
get
quite
some men in.
traditional.
Yeah.
2 men with a van, I think, is a common enough
You can
method.
pay a lot more, and they do a lot more for you.
Well, I've heard that.
But they want to come round. I didn't know. Like they
Well,
won't.
how are they going to move the stuff if they don't come round?
No, I mean,
What was you going to email it?
even to give you a quote, they want to come and have a look at your stuff.
Well, that's fair enough,
fair
isn't
enough.
it? You might have 9
No, it's not. My
pianos.
stuff, we've got the same stuff as everybody else.
Can
They've seen
you
stuff
stop
before.
shouting?
That's
This
their
is,
job.
you're ruining the Absolute Radio speakers.
Yeah, so we did, and I was sorting that out. And then on that day, my wife is pregnant. So
Can I say, before you go into this story, is that when I moved, the last time I moved, I paid this removal company, and I didn't touch. They just came round and they just wrapped everything up in my house. And I wasn't even there. I went away, and when I got back, everything was in the new house. It was fantastic. They wrapped it all up. But they wrapped up like dirty cups, a newspaper.
And did they just throw them around as well when
No.
they got there? Like it was, they put the crisp packets back in exactly where
It
you
was
want them.
brilliant. No, everything was still wrapped. So my entire life, it was like, you know, that artist who wraps buildings. It was like that. They wrapped the whole thing, and then put it in the new house. And I didn't have to touch. I didn't have to pack anything.
I wouldn't like that. I don't
loved it.
want them meddling with in my drawers.
It was like it was like Christmas. I can't believe you said that. That's the trailer sorted out. Oh my God!
Absolute.
So that was EMF with Unbelievable. That's a great track, isn't it?
Love that song.
I once sang that with Alan Hansen, with him just going unbelievable. It's true. It's true, isn't it, Gareth?
Yes, I do. I saw
Gareth
that on
reminded me. Yes, on telly. Oh, those are the days. I tell you, speaking of telly, do you know, I cried. I didn't just cry. I sobbed. I made a noise crying. You know, when you make a noise. A friend of mine, who was a lovely bloke, he was a little bit campy. He was a lovely guy. He got shushed in on Golden Pond. He was at the cinema and he cried so loudly. Anyway, the thing is that what I watch is not traditionally known as a weepy. I was watching E! Entertainment Channel, and I don't know if you know that's a satellite channel, and there's a programme called Girls of the Playboy Mansion, which is about Hugh Hefner and his 3 blonde-haired girlfriends.
That sounds like a classy programme.
Well, you say that. You say, yeah, you go, M knows it. You say, that's it. People who haven't seen it, you see, they think, oh, that's going to be squalid. But in fact, it's like a lovely, friendly family atmosphere between him and the 3 girls that are a quarter of his age.
It's like the Waltons with silicone, basically, isn't
Yes,
it?
and swearing and lots and quite a lot of nudity. But you know, can I say Absolute Radio don't champion nudity?
So they live with him in the Playboy Mansion.
Yes,
I'm not up to speed.
Yeah, the way it kind of works is that one of them, I think, sleeps with him, and then the other 2 come in now and again when called. They can't just walk in when they feel like it. There's probably a buzzer.
But that side of it's left very vague, which is nice.
Yeah, there's no, none of that's on camera. Don't be. I mean, it's reality, but hey. Anyway, this week was the last episode, and the girls basically have decided to leave, and one of the girls has gone and she's met someone else, and one of the girls has got a programme called Bridget's Beaches, where she looks at various beaches across the world. And the other one, she wanted a child with Hef, and he just wouldn't do it, so she's... And, you know, the splitting up of the 3 girlfriends and the leaving of the Playboy Mansion, I wept.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone, though, who thinks I'm messing about, you should, if you ever... You know, when you flick through... You know, if you've got satellite, you get that, like, blue thing come up with a list of all the programmes. There's loads of programmes on that which I've never seen, and I'm intrigued. There's one called The Dog Whisperer.
You introduced me to the Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Oh, Dog the Bounty Hunter I watch regularly, but we should go into that later. But the Dog Whisperer, I've never seen it, but it always seems to be on. There's another one called...
Is that like, heel?
Sit. Well, or maybe it's a dog that goes, Rolf. Rolf. I don't know, because I haven't seen it. So what happened? See what I love? You know when you 2 have never had a dog, have you? Which you told me this morning. I was shocked at. I like when some dogs, they don't go straight into barking. They don't whisper, but they sort of cough. It's like they're trying to just not go suddenly into barking. They want a little bit of a ramp into it. So you sit with the dog and it might hear something, and he goes. And into it, they don't just go there because you could hurt your throat.
Do they cough to cover the fact that they're talking? So if someone says something they don't agree with, they go.
I think the dog whisperer does that. There's another programme called Beyond Wit.
What's that?
Well, Beyond Wit, there's more to it than that,
Right.
but because it's a long title, you only get Beyond Wit, ... So I've no idea what it's beyond. It could be
Oh.
beyond the dog whisperer.
Oh, okay.
Well, it must be beyond something that begins with... Perhaps it's Beyond We, and it's about
Yeah.
the major advances in computer games. Anyway, I cry easy, I'll be honest with you.
I tell you what, Dead Poet Society always makes me cry. Where the boys stand up on the desks.
Oh, don't start.
So my captain. Oh, every
Yeah.
time. Just do you have a film like that? Every time.
Oh yeah, I have in The Lion King. There's a bit where they hold Simba up on Pride Rock as they're singing "Circle of Life." I'm actually crying a bit now, thinking.
Yeah, no, that's
like
very
tears in my
moving.
I
eyes.
think I cry when they rip the antelope to pieces.
Yeah.
That's one of the songs that makes me cry is a song called "Old Shep" by Elvis Presley, which is about a dog that's gonna. I think he shoots. It's not clear whether he shoots it. He reaches for a gun, and then he talks about it being in dog heaven. If you put two and two together, I don't know what's happened in the meantime, but it's never good.
Absolute.
Guess what? Derren Brown is in the studio. Derren Brown is in the studio. Derren Brown. We needed more opera there.
Derren Brown there, look.
Darren, welcome.
Welcome. That was a lovely song.
Yeah, thanks.
Not what you said. I actually meant the Elvis Presley, but that was.
Oh.
They were both
Oh, you
equally as
build
lovely.
me up, you break me down. How typical of the British public. So not that you're a member of the public, obviously, you're a major star. It's great to have you on, Darren. And I should start straight away with saying that you're about to do a show in the West End of
The
London.
West End of London, yes. I'm touring for a bit, which is about to start, and then it comes into the Adelphi on the Strand in mid-June to mid-July. So that's quite exciting, quite looking forward to that. It's a lovely theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I should say, by the way, that Darren is hovering about 3 foot off the ground
I know.
at the moment, and he's on fire.
Yeah.
How does he do these things? The man must be in league with the devil. So, Darren, I saw you. Would you say in concert? Is that how you describe it?
Oh, I like in concert, yeah, let's say that.
What would
yeah.
you normally say live?
Yeah, live. Yeah, you did. You kindly came to the last show. We had a
kindly.
drink afterwards.
I'm not kidding you. We drank goat's blood over a bubbling cauldron.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic. And I was with 3 people, and he turned them into a 3-piece suite. They were rushed into hospital. I phoned up the next morning. I said, "How are they?" They said, "Comfortable."
Oh,
I'm sorry, it's a very old joke, but it's just flowing. I'm so excited that you're here, Darren. It's just flowing out of me. Now, can I say, though, and this is, I know people have to say nice things to guests, but this is from my heart. That show is probably the most consistently brilliant theatre show I've ever seen.
Oh, come
I
on.
was so excited. It was great. And I tell you what, I
That's very lovely of you, thank
I
you.
have to be careful how I say this on the radio, but it made me swear a lot. And I
Right.
kept using this phrase, and the
was that
second...
you? Because it was really distracting.
Yes.
I was really trying to focus at the time.
Every time you did something very magical, I used the phrase, the second word of which was hell. Let me just say that. But it happened, and I'd go
to.
Oh, hell! It was. I was so amazed. I love being amazed.
Oh, yeah, you're super kind. Thank you. That was the last one, but that was Evening of Wonders, I think, which was on at the Garrick. That's been on
Yes.
telly. This is the this will be the new one. You'll have to come to that and swear during that too.
I know it was Evening of Wonders because I had an argument with my girlfriend about it, in which I said, "What was the name of Darren's show last time we saw it?" And she said it was Evening of Wonders, and I said, "No, it wasn't. It's nothing like that." So I apologise if you're listening.
I had a confusing. It was Derren. We thought Derren Brown Mind Reader, and then Evening of Wonders, and it got very confusing. We didn't know whether it was called we, as in me and the team, not weird royal we that some people. Didn't know whether it was called Mind Reader or Evening of Wonders either. So it wasn't until the TV version came out and they just ditched the Mind Reader that it became clear.
So it wasn't just me.
No, it wasn't just you. No, we were all confused.
So, Darren, can you do magic? Can you do actual... Are you a magic person? I'm not going to ask you to do any now because it's on the radio.
Well, it depends what you mean by magic. I think it all takes place. Any sort of magic, even conjuring magic, even conjuring magic. It all takes place in the mind of the person that's watching. So, no, in a nutshell, the person isn't doing anything supernatural. But if it's like comedy. If the person isn't finding it funny, then it isn't funny, I guess. You depend entirely on the reaction of the people that are watching and listening. And with magic and what I do, it happens entirely in the minds of the people watching. So you create an experience. You take somebody from A to B, and if B doesn't seem like it couldn't possibly follow from A, then you've kind of failed. So it's yes, it's real in the sense that it's real, but only exists in.
I'm not buying this. I think a lot of these.
No is the short answer.
A lot of magicians,
a
lot of magicians say that they can do magic and they're tricksters. I think you're the other way around. I think you actually are a wizard of some kind, and you claim it's just like mind games and stuff like that. I think we will discover.
Hang on.
I think you're from the planet Xenon.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that Paul Xenon?
No, not Paul Xenon. He comes from a much more minor satellite than you do, Derren. I don't know if there's any. No, honestly, when I watched it, I was so gobsmacked. If anyone had told me how you did anything, I would have smacked them in the mouth. I don't want to know. Do people usually want to know?
No, I don't think they do, which is kind of nice. And there were those shows a few years ago that exposed like illusion, sort of stage illusion, that kind of magic, you know, with how you saw people in half and do all that, which I think kind of missed the point a bit. No, I don't think people do want to know. One thing I've always felt is quite a nice thing is to kind of I think magic over the years has traditionally sort of insulted people's intelligence. I think I've tried to, not necessarily succeeded, but tried to find a way of doing it that kind of engages people's intelligence rather than kind of making out you can do something which people know at the end of the day you can't. They know it's, a technique or something you've practiced hard enough or thought hard enough, and that you're not doing anything genuinely supernatural. There's a time bomb with magicians. I think you start. I'm a sort of magician. I'm using the word magician. But
that's it. You said magician.
I have a foot.
Write that down.
Yeah, I got a foot in that door, and you start off. All the great, fascinating things about magic, mentalism, whatever you want to call it, are normally the things you can't really talk about because they're the methods that you're using or the things that just keep you going, but you find it so fascinating. But you can't really talk about those because then you start to give away how you're doing it, and part of it, obviously, is retaining the mistake. So the mistake, I think, what a lot of magicians do then is they start to create this sort of two-dimensional, mysterious personality to make up that kind of interest, to try and be interesting in a different way, and then of course people get sick of that. So it is tricky, but I think it's important to be honest. I think.
Well, yeah, but I think you're lying. I think you're a wizard. I think you're a wizard who's claiming to be a trickster. That's what I think.
Absolute.
We're talking to Derren Brown. When I say we, obviously, it's me,
Mate,
Emily, and Gareth. Emily, you've got a bit of a sensational Derren Brown story.
I have, which you were kind of indirectly involved in, Frank.
I'm indirectly involved in so many interesting events.
Well, a friend had invited us to a dinner party, and you very kindly agreed to give a, do I say performance?
When she says you, she's looking at Derren.
Yeah,
concert.
A concert, yeah.
Do you do concerts in people's homes?
I should start.
But I remember, if I'm right, I think you'd agreed with the friend that you were going to you'd sent a tape beforehand.
A cassette tape, that's right.
Yes, and you'd said hide it somewhere in the house, and it was hidden behind a painting, which was rather brilliant.
This was just an informal party, and you sent a type of predictions ahead.
Come on, I would love to have you for dinner, if you'd like to do a little bit afterwards as well. That would be nice too.
It was brilliant. And then this tape was retrieved at some point, so there'd been no tampering or anything.
No.
It was put inside, and it was then played, and you then proceeded you went through every single person sitting around the table and described exactly what we were wearing, which totally freaked me out because, you did it even to me, and I was a civilian. So I just thought, well, how would you... It's not like you could Google me and think, she tends to wear, chaps.
I should say, when Emily says civilian, she doesn't mean this was a load of military people. She means that she was the only non-famous person there.
So you went round in great detail, and you also said the food we were eating, the topics we'd be discussing. Mm-hmm. So we were all trying to work out...
This is on the cassette that I'd seen
on the cassette.
A couple of weeks before,
That can't be possible.
But then, this is the really weird thing, you then referred to Frank, and you said to David Baddiel, who was there, I'm afraid Frank can't be with us tonight. Sadly, he's had a piece of bad news. But if he had come, he would have been wearing purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so over to you now, Frank.
Yeah, so what had happened is I'd had a big row with my girlfriend at the time. I don't remember which one it was. I probably got the postcode
Probably
written
part of the
down.
problem.
Yeah, exactly. But I bumped into David Baddiel in the street that day and said, look, I'm not coming tonight. I'm just really in a bad mood and blah, blah, blah. I'm just, I'm sad and all that. And I had a purple hooded top, which I almost never wore. I mean, it was only because I was staying in. I only nipped out for like a pint of milk. So it's beyond magic.
Oh, you make it sound so good.
I think you might have been sitting in a car outside all of our houses at some point in the day just to see what we were wearing.
I think we should throw you into water with your hands tied and see if you float.
See what happens.
So the question is, how did you do that?
Well, it's such a long time ago, I can't remember.
But you must see why people are I mean, it's not just amazing, it's a little bit frightening.
It's become like the grassy knoll, the purple top. We can't explain how
Well,
it
it was
happened.
years ago. That's nice to know you're still still thinking about it.
Well, obviously, if someone does magic in your house, it is something that you tend not to forget, I think.
Yes, I suppose so. It was.
I love it so nonchalant. He's nonchalant.
It was. It was. He's right. It was a cassette I sent a few weeks ago, and the wife of the couple had hidden it, and I've only ever done it probably 3 times in my life. Probably, there probably were a few things on it that were wrong as well that maybe you're not remembering. I don't know, or maybe not. They still got it. I left the tape with them, I think.
People do help magicians a bit, though, don't they? Because if I remember a trick that someone's done, I always add about 3 things to it to make it more amazing.
Yeah, that's an interesting aspect of it. It goes back to what I was saying about it all happens in the person's head when you watch it. I think if you. I think actually the cassette was impossibly accurate, but in other situations, if it's, it could just be a card trick, if you've been fooled by something, it's in your interest. It's like having a really nice holiday and wanting to tell people about it and engage them in how lovely it was. You have an interest in kind of exaggerating what happened a bit in order to get the story across and to have people go, oh wow, that is amazing. And also you don't want them going, well hang on, he could have just, picked up the deck of cards and switched them at that point. So you kind of go, no, you never touch the cards, you start to, you embellish it to make it as amazing as possible. And a good magician will drop in. There are things that you can drop in during the trick to help people do that. To make, like if you are doing a trick where the deck has to be in a particular order at the beginning, so they can't shuffle it at the beginning, but it's safe for them to shuffle it halfway through. So when you give them the deck halfway through, you say, shuffle it again. This time, do it under the table. Now they haven't shuffled it before, but you're talking as if they had. You shuffle it again, but this time do it under the table. So they'll just follow those instructions. But afterwards, when they remember. They'll kind of. It's easy for them to remember that was the second time they shuffled it. They did shuffle it at the beginning, which case the whole trick becomes impossible. So you drop in those sort of false memories. It's a big part of it.
I mean, the thing that always sticks in my mind is when you got people to stop an armed guard in the street.
The heist.
And wave a gun about and all that. Now, when I watched that, I just thought, if there's any police in the area of this, won't they shoot this person before they can say, I should explain I've been hypnotised by Derren Brown?
Oh, there were loads of police. Now, we had it was on a Sunday. We took over a big chunk of East London, around by Gresham Street, around in the city. So it was cordoned off. We had to get the police's involvement on that day for exactly that reason, because there was going to be a guy with, not a real gun, but a good replica. So they'd been on this. It sort of came out of those motivational seminars and that whole kind of ethos of, get what you want, influence other people, set your goals, and that whole world of motivational training and so on, which is horrible, really, because it misses the point. Because being kind, being nice, is actually, I think, the what gets you ahead most in life, and if you want to make it about getting what you want, but also just makes you happier. So,
well, you say being nice, but I mean, Paul McKenna uses that method of training to stop people smoking. You use it to make people hold up trucks in the street. How nice is that, Derren
nice
Brown?
And nasty. But it was about taking that. It was about taking that kind of selfishness in that world and seeing whether you can persuade people to do things that they supposedly don't want to do, because that's always a big thing but you can't make people do things they don't want to do. And I thought, well, you can. You just got to make them want to do it, which that whole seminar world reminded me of.
I've been making people do what they don't want to do for years.
Absolute.
Darren, you've got. Let's get the plug-in out the way. You've got a book coming out because you do caricatures.
I do. I paint portraits, and they've been kind enough to put a book together of them I don't know quite when it's coming out. I think it's going to be ready in April, but they might not launch it a little later. But yeah, probably April.
And who have you done caricatures of?
Oh, everyone.
Well, you say that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, well, let's move on. Anyway, that's his book of the sort of some of the lesser lights of the showbiz world, and then there's and then you got the DVD of the show I saw, which was brilliant.
Evening of Wonders.
Which is called Evening of Wonders.
That is coming out soon. I've just been signing off on the.
You're not very good on the dates, are you, Mr. Memory Man?
Yeah, soon.
Soon. I mean, what kind of a
ninth.
thing is that? Rubbish. It's supposed to be magic. And I should say that the tickets for the show, your show, which starts at the 15th of June at the Adelphi Theatre in London, are available, you must know this, on your website.
Yes, you can get them through my website.
Which is www.derrenbrown.co.uk. Oh, you know. That's it. It's going to be the Derren Brown. If you put in Derren Brown, it's going to come up, isn't it? What do I have to spoon feed you people?
Or seat tickets, I think, if you want to go directly.
And it says here the performance is not suitable for children under 12 years of age. Of old. Right, why is that?
12 years of old.
Is it that one? Is it that trick where you strangle an Alsatian?
Yeah.
I hate that one.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bad language. And,
well, there is from me when I'm watching it.
Yeah, that's just from you.
Now, you've got a parrot.
Oh, not anymore. Oh, that's very sad.
Oh, God, no, that's one of the worst things that's ever happened.
Touched on something very delicate.
Oh, God.
No, he died.
This has become a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry about... Oh, Derren, when was that? Is it quite recent?
It was literally 3 years ago.
So you're over it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Right.
I did.
My research is perhaps a little out of date. Have you not thought about getting another one just to make this bit work?
I did, and then that died as well.
Oh, really?
I think there's a pattern. There's a pattern emerging.
I think there is. I think it's the sawing in half. Do you practice on parrots?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not going to work with one blow of the machete. It has to be a bit more gradual. You've got to work the tension on that.
Yeah, no, they've all died.
So have you got TV and stuff coming up as well?
Not till September. There's I've done some documentaries. I've done 2 documentaries. I'm doing a third on people sort of making paranormal claims and so on, and spending some time and spending a week. Spent a week with a medium in Liverpool, which was really interesting, and a week with a ghost hunter in Philadelphia, and we're trying to find a third. No one wants to do it with me. They'll think I'm going to be aggressively sceptical, which...
well, you're going to expose them, presumably. So well, of course they don't want to do it.
You know what, that whole... I mean, yeah, I'm sceptical, but sceptical just means asking questions as opposed to cynical, which means sticking your fingers in your ears and going, no, not listening. So the idea was to make shows that were genuinely, you know, in the spirit of true scepticism, which is, I would love this to be true, and I'm going to spend some time with you and see whether it holds up, and watch what you do, and just ask some questions, and so it's not aggressive at all. So do one more of those, and also...
did you go to a séance? Did you actually go to one of those?
Certainly with the ghost hunter, we went to a proper... There's exorcisms involved, and there's doing like a proper sort of haunting investigation in someone's house. It was brilliant, really fascinating.
Did you hear a voice go, "Polly wants a crack"? That would have put you in your place, wouldn't it, Mr. Expose? Well, look, Derek, so the show I know will be brilliant because the last one was great. So a DVD book, etc., etc. So it's really good having you on the show.
Oh, it's been lovely to be.
And honestly, it has the Skinner recommendation. Derren Brown live is breathtaking.
Absolute.
This is the last time. Keen? Oh, they don't mean it, do they? They don't mean that. So, yeah. What was we? Oh, yeah, there was a thing in the paper this week that it says that funny men get girls. That is the thing. They went through these Lonely Hearts columns, and the thing that they are most impressed by is that thing GSOH, good sense of humour, and basically funny things, people saying funny things in the columns. Now, Gareth, you're a comedian by trade.
Yes.
Are you a ladies' man? I know you're married now, but we've all got a past.
I'm one ladies' man.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but in the past, before you met Laura.
No, absolutely not. And I don't think that there's one person that has ever approached me after a gig or around a gig in a romantic way. I might have just been. I know.
Not in a romantic way.
You can see me, Frank, and you know that is an incredible thing.
Yeah.
That no one has. Maybe people are intimidated. That's what it is.
They think he's too funny. I could laugh myself into a hospital.
But also, I am so socially inept that I'd probably just miss it. If it did happen, I wouldn't catch on.
You might have been propositioned and not even noticed.
Just like, would you like to sleep with me? I'm not tired, thanks. But that's really thoughtful.
Yeah, it's a good comeback actually for women who you find not attractive. So nice, lets them down gently.
Oh, so that's what that means.
Sorry, I've just had a coffee.
Yeah.
Em, have you ever dated a comedian?
I've dabbled.
I say date. Oh, you've dabbled?
Yes, I've dabbled. I did date a comedian. I'm not sure if I should out him. I'm not sure how he'd feel about that.
No, but let's just say as a clue that he often works with Diddy men. You can still see the teeth marks on her neck. It's rather frightening. No, you've been at...
She likes to be tickled.
What do you think of comedians? Because some people, of course, think that comedians, when they're off stage, are sombre, bitter, broken-hearted people.
I think today I have had comments from the text saying Frank's chipper, but Gareth sounds like he's a bit down.
Yeah.
Today. Oh. So, and I am a bit like that. I am...
You're hang dog. You are hang dog. Didn't you once hang a dog as well? I think it's part of Derren Brown.
He was asking for the things he'd done.
Once the Alsatian had gone, it sort of turned into a blood frenzy. So what would you say about if you had to sum up comedians in general? How many are we talking here? Over 100.
Frank?
Okay, sorry.
120.
Is it the cast of Dad's Army? You killed them. You killed them with your insatiable appetite. You're right, Godfrey. I can't do it again, Emily.
We're doomed. We're doomed, Captain Mannering. We don't like it off them.
Oh, I can only apologise. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, I would say the thing that's weird, not weird about comedians, but the one sort of aspect of dating a comedian is that it's like dating a psychologist or a shrink, because it's all about observing human behaviour, what you guys do, really. So it's quite frightening, the level of psychological insight into everything you do, and often very accurate.
I am told I have frighteningly accurate insight. I knew Frank. Well, this
I'm
thing
just told to shut up. That's what I found. Oh, gosh, shut up with your stupid
Frank,
jokes.
can you stop following me? That's what usually people...
I don't buy this thing, that you can laugh a woman into bed. Women always say that you can laugh. It's the idea that you laugh with such gusto that you can start moving them across the room and steer them into bed. I mean, if you could do that, would that be morally acceptable as a form of courtship, to physically laugh a woman into bed? You can wrestle a woman into bed, I found, or drag, but laugh a woman... No, obviously you shouldn't, but laugh a woman into bed is... I think that's the thing that women say, because women really like... If you say, who's the most popular sexy man, they ask women in a survey, they tend not to say Paul Daniels, or they tend well, I'm classing as a comedian. Yeah, or they tend to say Brad Pitt, who's one of the least funny people I've ever met. I was stuck in a lift with him once. He didn't say one funny thing for the whole time. I think we're coming to the end of the show, and yes, I can I say that I think I have pulled a lot of women, but I was always funny. It wasn't until I was funny and rich that the attraction really kicked in. It's been a fabulous week. Thank you, Emily and Gareth, and Derren Brown was great.
How exciting is it to play the British Heart Foundation's Weekly Flutter? Ka-ching! Exciting enough to get your heart racing. Just a little bit. Like texting a mate. The same time they text you. Like flipping pancakes with majestic grace. Or spotting that last parking space. Yes! With the added joy of knowing the money you donate helps to fund life-saving research. £1 to play, £1,000 to win every week. Search British Heart Foundation Weekly Lottery. See? It's a little bit exciting.
Gamble responsibly. Over 18s only. T's and C's apply. Please see our website for more details. British Heart Foundation is a registered charity.